Welcome to Booked All Night, the podcast where hot takes meet craft notes and no one gets enough sleep. I'm Jess.
I'm Katie.
I'm Julia.
I'm Maggie. Get ready for unhinged hot takes,
A whole lot of books,
midnight giggles,
and zero shame. Grab your blankets, booklets, it's time to get booked all night. I'm Jessica Mary, and today I am joined by Brittany Ranew, author of Line of Fire, which is part of the Fire Prophecy. I can talk, it's fine. The Fire Prophecies series. Now, before we get started, if you are watching us live today, make sure that you join the Pillow Fort, which is our free-to-join Discord server where you can add questions to this very interview. We only take questions from our Discord, so make sure to join today. And if you are listening after I have finished editing this episode, then make sure you join the Pillow Fort so you don't miss any opportunity to add your questions to our future episodes. And now please welcome Brittany Ranew to the pod. Hello, welcome, yay!
Hi! Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yes! So as we start all of our interviews, we like to jump off right into games, because games are fun. They get us laughing. And the first one is Superlatives. And it's very much end of the yearbook kind of thing. So just to kick us off, we're going to do these. I'm going to give you a prompt. You're going to tell me which of your characters is least likely to, most likely to, etc.
Okay.
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 So the first one is most likely to ignore a text for 3 business days.
Oh, I think,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Most likely to ignore a text. I think I would, I feel like I would pick my main character, Riley, for that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Most likely to open a new project instead of finishing the current one.
Okay. I'm also answering Riley for that one. I promise there will be other answers.
Most likely to say just one more chapter at 2 a.m.
That would be Magdalyn.
Same, Magdalyn. I sit there and I struggle. I have sleepy time meds that I take at bedtime, and I'm like, I can do it. I can get through the next chapter. And I sit there fighting them. I'm like, this defeats the purpose. It's fine.
I know. I do the same thing.
Least likely to keep their desk clean.
Logan. That would be Logan for sure. He's so, he's chaotic in one word.
We love him already. We declare that he is the new mascot. Anyone who is chaotic gets to be the mascot here at Booked All Night. It's fine.
Yeah, I like it.
And the final one is most likely to emotionally spiral over a fictional character.
I think I would pick Emma for that one. Probably because that's what I would do, and I put way too much of myself in her, so...
You're like, oh no, I know it's this one. This one right here.
Yeah.
So you or your marketing team have described the Fire Prophecies as Percy Jackson meets Narnia, which I think is a really fun promise to readers, because I love those things. So what elements from those inspirations did you want to capture, and where did you intentionally diverge?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, so Percy Jackson's like my all-time favorite series. Rick Riordan, my favorite author. I say that I wouldn't be a writer today if it weren't for him. Mm-hmm. And I think kind of what I loved about Percy Jackson, well, lots of things, but some of the things that I loved about Percy Jackson that I kind of infuse those themes into my series is kind of the idea of discovering the hero within yourself and the power, the powers that you have. I think that's part of all the different characters in Percy Jackson where, they have it's demigods. So there's a patron Roman or Greek god, and then that they have powers from, and then learning to access those within themselves. And so kind of have a little bit of that in my series where there is a unique magic system that's based on magical gifts and patron wizards. So there's the gift of fire, obviously, and you have a patron fire wizard. So I think that's something a very key element there. And also the New York connection, the portal to Lastoria, which is the magical realm that they all go to college in, and that's off of Central Park. So you have a New York connection there. And then with it being a portal fantasy, There's tunnel system, and they portal all over like human realm and magical realm and on their adventure. And kind of naturally that portal element comes from Narnia for sure. But also the like one of the things that I love about Narnia is just kind of like the overarching idea of like good versus evil, and choosing the light over the darkness. And so I definitely like infuse that into the series. And no spoilers. I mean, literally the title of the first book is Line of Fire. So there may be another important element there that you will find out as you read.
Yeah. So that portal system, is that as confusing as the New York subway?
Yes, actually. No one's ever asked me that, but gosh, yeah, that is perfect descriptor. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to intern at Macmillan up in New York, and really hard because I live in South Jersey, so I would take a 3-hour bus ride all the way up. And the Macmillan at the time, I don't think they're there anymore. I think they might have moved offices, at least for some of the imprints. But they were at the Flatiron building, and the bus stop home was at the convention center, the Javits Center, which, by the way, is 28 blocks away. And I know that because I got lost on the subway and then had to take an Uber over, took a later bus. It was like such a whole fiasco. Yeah. And from then on, I was like, screw it, I'll just walk. And yeah, I lost a lot of weight because 3 times a week I walked 28 New York City blocks.
That sounds painful.
Yeah, it was rough. But I now know my way by heart from the Flatiron building to the Javits Center.
Yep. I mean, yeah, you could have used my portal system because there is an element where, the portals will open up where you need them to be. So I could have given you a shortcut.
That would have been nice instead of somehow winding up in Times Square. And I'm like, I don't think I got on that. I was so upset. I was like, I just want to go home. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
But, so Riley starts in a really relatable place. He's a college senior, feeling like he might be a failure before his powers even manifest. And college seniors, I think everybody feels that failure oncoming feeling. But how important was it to ground this particular epic story in what is a very real, what am I doing with my life moment?
Yeah, well, it comes from a real place because that was how I was feeling when I started writing this series. Mm-hmm. I had already graduated college. I was out of college for a few years at that point, and I was still feeling very lost. And so it was definitely me kind of exploring, okay, what, you're supposed to be this like adult in the real world, and yet you feel lost. And what do you do with that? And it's like, you kind of feel like you haven't come into your own. You haven't figured out what your destiny is. And of course, in my story, Riley gets some destiny thrust upon him, and he has to figure out how to grapple with that, how to control it, how to, really like at the heart of it, it's like how to become the hero of your own story. Like, how do you own your own destiny? Mm-hmm. And that is like the journey that Riley goes on. And then with the second book will be out later this year. You're going to start to see that with Emma as well. So the first book only has his point of view, Riley's point of view, and the second book has both of theirs. So it is definitely coming from a real place of me trying to figure out what I wanted to do with myself. I went to school for music. I wanted to be a professional singer, mm-hmm. and, be on Broadway and kind of like all of those dreams. And yet I wasn't doing those after college. So it was just like, I felt lost and I had to kind of, learn who I was as a person. So I definitely wanted to infuse those themes into the series.
I feel that me and my many art degrees feel that, almost everyone here at the podcast majored in writing, and we are all like, whew, boy, do we feel that big mood of I am not fulfilling up to what I thought that I would be. Oh, yes, and producer Rob majored in film, correct? Yep, mm-hmm. Yeah. Whole podcast covered in art degrees, and we're like, we're using them here at the podcast, and that's good enough for me.
Yep. Yeah, you find a way to dive back into your passion. That's all that matters. So.
Yes. I think there is something very chaotic and iconic about a magical crash landing into the girls' bathroom. So what does that moment set up for the tone of the story?
Yeah. So first of all, I love humor. And so there's a lot of humor in this series. And that's actually another thing that I love about Percy Jackson. It's like, you're dealing with like really heavy stuff and dark prophecies and all of that, which is also, I have prophecies in my series. And yet the humor can kind of cut in there. And it just, it just adds fun to it, but it's also like, just makes it feel more real and relatable, I think, too, because I think a lot of people use humor to kind of cut through tension and hard things. And so my characters definitely do that for sure. So yeah, I wanted a way for Riley and Emma to have a chance meeting. And then I just heard Logan screaming at me that like he was going to be the one to like totally screw things up. And that's exactly how it happened. So
you're like, all right, fine.
Yeah. Agent of Chaos. There we go.
I fully agree. I think it's better to break up those moments of like such darkness in a lot of the literature that we read with humor, because that's what most of us do, right? Like it's where our terrible, terrible coping mechanisms have all gone, is this really sick sense of humor. But I think that it's better to laugh about it than it is to dwell in it. And laughing at the terrible moment that you're in is kind of like a step toward healing about what you're going through. Yeah,
I definitely agree, for sure.
And my last question for this particular section, the prophecy elements introduces this looming, almost inevitable darkness. Mm-hmm. How did you balance fate versus choice in Riley's journey?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. And I think that like you'll see the characters go more on that journey, even more so in the second book. Yeah, I think it takes a lot to, when you have, I think just even in life, like we have things like thrust upon us, and maybe they're not as epic as saving the world, but it happens. And I think that it's not easy to start to make those decisions for yourself and kind of like learn to have autonomy in that. Yeah. It's not easy at all. But I think you just kind of, you get to a point where you're like, okay, no more. Like it's just, you see the stakes very clearly and you start to understand what you want. And then you start to make those different choices to get to what you want. So you'll definitely see the characters go on that journey for sure. I mean, it's personal development, right? I mean, I think that's why we read books. We want to see ourselves in the characters and find those relatable journeys and development points. And, that's what I've tried to do with my characters.
I love that. I also love the discussions on fate versus choice and how we all kind of get twisted back into it. Like, I don't have a lot of favorite, from my English degree literature books. But Oedipus is one of my favorites because his choices are actively trying to avoid his fate, and it's what ultimately leads him into it. And I love stuff like that where it's like, you never really had a choice, or did you?
Yeah.
Like, you could have just not killed anybody, and then you never would have killed your father, but okay.
Yeah, it's, gosh, yeah. Because, I mean, it does, there is an element of like, you just get put in these impossible situations. We put these characters in these impossible situations, and it's like, you got to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you grow as a person, right?
It's true. Unfortunately, it's true. Yes.
Yeah.
That brings us up to the very first game of the podcast.
Okay.
Which is Space 'em or Embrace 'em. Now, the rules of Space 'em or Embrace 'em, super fun for me. You are flying through the cosmos with a cargo full of tropes and cliches, but suddenly you get sucked into a black hole. In order to escape, you need to dump some of that cargo. There are 10 items, and you can only see 2 at a time due to a computer error. You don't have a lot of rounds to get rid of as much as you need to, and we will come back to the list at least once after you've tossed and saved a few things. Only I know the magic number that you need to get down to in order to escape. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Your first 2 choices are The Chosen One and Forbidden Love.
So I have to pick between which one to keep, which one to get rid of?
You can toss both or keep both, but you will come back to this choice at least once.
Okay, I feel like I have to keep both because that's like such the main premise. Both are like the main premise of my series.
You will find I'm very petty about these games. Okay, so your second choices are Portal Fantasy or Fish Out of Water.
Oh, good grief. Okay. I'll keep Portal Fantasy and get rid of Fish Out of Water.
Okay. Your next two are Morally Gray Mentor or Dark Prophecy.
I'll keep Dark Prophecy.
Slow Burn or Touch Her and Die.
Okay, you're doing it to me again.
Yeah.
I'll keep Touch Her and Die.
Okay. The next two are Secret Magical World and Accidental Destiny.
I feel like I have to get rid of some things. I guess I'll get rid of both of those.
Okay. Let me do one quick count. Okay, and so this is your second round. You get at least one extra round here.
Okay.
To get down to the magic number. So we are back to Chosen One or Forbidden Love.
I will keep Chosen One.
Okay. Portal Fantasy or Morally Gray Mentor.
I'll keep Portal Fantasy.
And you managed to escape the black hole. Very nice. You get to keep Chosen One, Portal Fantasy, and Touch Her and Die.
Oh, okay. I can live with that. That's great.
All excellent choices, I believe. Yes.
Yeah. I don't think there was any wrong choices in any of that, but here we are.
I love putting these lists together. This and what's another one we played? Never Have I Ever Spoiled My Own Book, where I go through your Instagram and I'm not above putting things up there like never have I ever written a book called The Lion of Fire. I'm just petty about all of these games. It's a weekly highlight for me. It's lovely.
I think that's great.
It's so fun. Take it to your friends. Make them squirm too. It'll be fun. Okay, so section 2 is all about writing craft and reading habits. So how do you manage tone? So like, your elements of humor, romance, and dark prophecies to make all of that feel cohesive.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I feel like I learned even more about that going through the editing process for the second book. I don't know, you start to really understand what your voice is, and you just kind of have to trust your instincts when it comes to that. So like if you're going through and like editors suggesting like a huge change in like dialogue, or cutting an entire chapter, that type of stuff. And I think you just have to, of course, take that advice and think through it. And then at the end of the day, it has to be like that instinctual, like, okay, if I cut this dialogue or if I change this dialogue too much, it's then going to lose my voice, which is blending the humor and the dark prophecies and all that together. And so I think it's definitely just an element of trust. And the more you write, the more you understand what your voice is. It just takes a lot of time writing. And I think sometimes when I've had, of course I have writers like ask me for advice, and I think it's like sometimes people want it to be more complex than it is. And it's like, you just have to write, just have to keep writing.
I love and hate that answer because it's true. Like at the end of the day, the answer is sit down and do it.
Yeah.
But like a lot of us have, ADHD and depression and anxiety, and these things get in the way of writing because our brain is just like, no, I've decided to turn off right now. And you cannot you have never heard words. You don't know what words are. Yeah. You have never used a keyboard a day in your life. And you're just like, thank you. This sucks.
Yeah. But the imposter syndrome, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, that as well. Or even, I know one thing that I suffer from, and I talk about it constantly in interviews, I call it 20K limbo, where like I get up to 20,000 words and then you have to start making these decisions. And I'm just like, but which decisions? And then I just sit there and no decisions get made whatsoever. So it's rough. And I think a lot of people, I think there are some people that are blessed truly that they can just sit down and do it, and then there's like the rest of us that kind of have to make a schedule and get ourselves in the mood and have the right snacks and the right drinks and the right temperature of the room, and it just kind of like romance ourselves into getting the work done.
Oh, I like that. Romance yourself. Yeah. Yeah, I think, I mean, I'm very disciplined with my calendar. You know, I run a real estate business. So it's like for me, I have to be very structured. You know, I'm up early writing, and, you know, I may like randomly take a whole day off just to write because it's like good to kind of get into that zone. But it really is like the discipline of just having your butt in the chair. And what I have found is that when I am feeling like kind of stuck on something, like, oh my God, this scene is like not working, I just keep like, you know, plodding through it. And somehow it's like 30 minutes go by and you go, oh, wait, that's it. Like something just unlocks and then you go. So, but you don't get those moments if you don't like just keep at it.
It's true. And the zone is addictive. Like you get in there and suddenly it's like 6 hours later and your husband's knocking on your door like, hey, did you eat today? And you're like, maybe, I don't know. And you're like, it's just covered in like candy snacks all around your desk. And you're like, yes, I have eaten today. Perhaps not the best choices, but food has entered my body.
Yeah, there was many times in the writing cave recently, because I just turned in the second book, like complete, like edits are done. It is 100% done.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Woo. But my office has a window right in front of where my desk is. And so my husband would, and it's to the backyard. So my husband would have the door shut in here. Of course, I'm in the cave. And then all of a sudden I see this figure in front of me in front of the window. Like, hello. Did you forget about me? I'm like, I'm in the zone.
Don't interrupt me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so rough. I've yelled at, I feel bad. I've yelled at my husband before when he's come in and be like, do you want dinner? Oh my God, you ruined it. Now I don't know where I'm going. It's awful.
Yeah, I know.
So other questions. I have them here, I swear. What does your planning process look like for a series like The Fire Prophecies? Are you mapping things out early or kind of discovering threads as you go?
A little bit of both. So when I originally had the idea for the series, I actually had a dream about Riley and Emma. That was like the magical moment that I was like, oh wait, there's something here. You know, it was like, what would be a wizard who randomly meets a human and starts to fall for her, and he's trying to bring her into her world. Well, they are in two opposite worlds. How is that going to work? You know?
Yeah.
And so from there, it was then just me brainstorming kind of what the overall storyline was going to be. So I definitely had some major plot points, like all like outlined out, like with the 3 books, and kind of like I knew where I wanted the story to go, like how I wanted to end, like all the way at the end.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's like I kind of create a skeletal outline of the book, and I let the characters speak to me and tell me how to get from like one point to another, because like there's a lot of like, you know, gray areas in between from one kind of main plot point to the next in the book. So I am like letting the characters like show me the way. It's honestly, to me, like that's where like real life magic is, when the story is like writing itself, because the characters are like yelling at you, you know?
Yeah.
And you get, you know, when you do spend so much time with them, they really do like live in your head. So for me, it's like a combination of plotting and pantsing together. And it works. It creates magic, I think.
I like that.
Yeah.
So how do you decide the rules and limitations of your magic system, especially when Riley's powers are still emerging?
Yeah, I think for me, trying to ground stuff in reality is important. And like you know, mine's urban fantasy. It is set in the modern world with, you know, of course there's magical realms and all that too. So for me, it's like, okay, trying to ground things in reality, that helps me create rules that will be believable to readers. And I've always kind of loved the idea of like magic comes at a cost. Like it can't just be like, they just have endless abilities, and even like Superman has kryptonite. Like there's
Yeah.
got to be some cost, some stakes here. So, just, as they use their powers, they get drained. There's as they use the powers, they start to grow in their ability. Like they get more confident, they unlock new things. So that was my take on it, as these characters are really honing their abilities.
I really love when magic has consequences because I love fantasy, but a lot of fantasy still has that, like, well, we could do it with magic and there it's solved. And I'm like, but that's like so easy.
Yeah.
Like you don't I want to watch them struggle, which is a weird thing to say, but I want to watch them struggle and overcome things, right?
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
of one of my favorite scenes, I think it was from Serpent and Dove, where the main character is a thief and she's breaking into a mansion. In order to break the lock, she just breaks her finger, and that's what breaks the lock. And I'm
Ooh.
like, ouch!
Yikes. Yeah.
But okay, like, consequences. I enjoy this, and like there's a give and take right then. It's not about semantics. It's like I need to break a thing, and so here I have broken a thing. Like I have paid that cost. I love stuff like that. I think that makes for stronger world building.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And yeah, you gotta, it helps you relate to the characters, I think, too. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how bad do you want that stuff inside the mansion? You gonna break your finger?
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
So what kind of books are you reaching for lately, and do they influence the balance of romance versus fantasy in your own work?
Yeah. I've always loved fantasy, so I'm definitely reading the fantasy genre the most, and then we'll also read romantasy too. So whether it's fantasy without romance or fantasy with it, I love all that. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm typically reading in the genre quite a bit. And yeah, it's so funny because last year, yeah, at the beginning of 2025, I had one of my best friends was like, I keep hearing all this buzz about like the Sarah J. Maas universe. Like, would you want to like read her books with me and do a buddy read? And I was like, yeah, I've wanted to, but I've never like it's so daunting. So that's why
Yeah,
I
there's a
never
lot.
started. So
Yeah.
we fell down the rabbit hole of that
Oh
last
boy.
year. So we have now read ACOTAR and Throat of Glass, and are going to start Crescent City. So we'll be prepared for when ACOTAR comes out later this year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
That is
so
a
I have,
lot.
yeah, I've read lots of books of hers, and I think I learned a lot with writing action
Hmm.
from her writing, and I think also, balancing romance as well.
Hmm.
And one thing I love about Throne of Glass is like kind of the epic nature of the fantasy and the world building elements of that series with the romances blended in. And that was my original vision for my series. And so it was kind of cool to see that play out in another series. Like, oh, I'm not crazy for wanting to like have the epicness of this fantasy and have the epic love story and like blending them together. Like it does make sense. It can make
Yeah.
sense. So I've definitely, yeah, I think as a writer, like you've got to read, like read, 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 read. It's
Yes.
gonna improve your writing. And of course, read outside of your genre for sure. And I do, but it's important to read in the genre that you write in because it is going to, it's definitely going to help your writing for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And especially if you are writing in a certain age category. So, like, if you want to keep your voice
Mhm.
at the new adult level, you need to continue reading at the new adult level. Same thing with young adult, middle grade
Yeah.
picture books. Like, you need to absorb those things because I know it's true for me, and I know it's true for a lot of writers, but like once you start reading outside of that, you'll watch it kind of adjust your voice, and you'll be like, oh, nope, gotta go back to picture books and just kind of bring my voice
Yep.
back down.
Yeah, that's a good point for sure. Hmm.
Yeah. And the same thing with genre. You're not only reading it because you want to see where the market is and where the market might be going, but also because you don't want to be doing all of these things in your books. You want your books to be standing out, and so
Yeah.
it's research on many different levels.
Yeah. But I think that goes back to like what I said earlier about the intuition and the gut
Yeah.
instinct of like, this is my voice. This is important to my characters and the story. So I'm going to keep this instead of editing it out
Yep.
or changing it to sound more mainstream. And, like that's the kind of stuff that you just really start to hone in on and trust yourself with
Yep.
through the editing process. Yeah.
Absolutely. And my final question for this section is, when something isn't working in a draft, what is your go-to move to figure out the problem?
I think my first instinct is to stop and think back what my characters like what's the internal and external stakes and goals for my character. That helps like ground it back into, okay, what are they really trying to accomplish? What's most important to them? And then like what's getting in the way of that? And that, especially with dialogue, that will help like inform the dialogue. Like they would say this exactly because this is like where they're coming from. But I think also sometimes taking a step back, like just taking a break, like maybe just go walk around the block, go do something else in the house and coming back to it. That helps too. Just, kind of clearing your head.
Yeah.
Because then, they talk about like when you do monotonous tasks, like you're vacuuming or whatever, doing the dishes, that's when you have like the best ideas because your brain is like free.
Yeah.
So that's helpful. I mean, it happens a lot to me in the car. I drive a lot for work. So I get like the best ideas in the car. So I'm like voice noting myself, like, don't forget this genius thing.
And thank goodness for voice notes, man.
Yeah, right?
when I was working and I would go back and forth to work and I'd get stuck in traffic each way, like there's no good time around where I live to leave to be at work at like 9:00 in the morning because of all the schools that I live nearby. But I'd be like right in the middle of traffic and I'd be like, I figured it out. I have nothing to write it down with. Ah, crap. Yeah, it's rough being a writer when you are not around things to write with. Always keep your phone nearby. Always keep a notebook. Best advice I can give anybody.
Yeah, I send a lot of cryptic emails to myself. Like people will be like, "What the hell does that mean?" Like I know what it means.
I wrote a note to myself a couple years ago that just said "Clockwork Peacocks," and I was like, "What does that mean?" And I finally figured it out going through my Pinterest boards, and I was like, "That's what I meant." Oh my god. And so I'm working on this piece again because I'm like, I finally know what I meant.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Genius.
Perhaps Sleepy Jessica could leave a few more notes. That would be great. Not just, yeah.
That's when the magic happens.
It's true. That brings us to game number 2 of our podcast.
Okay.
So game number 2 is bring your own book. So the rules here is that I have 10 fill-in-the-blank statements. Like, have you ever played Cards Against Humanity?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. I'm going to give you the black cards. Your book is the white cards.
Okay.
So you have your book. You're going to flip to a random page and use a word or a phrase from the first full paragraph to complete the sentence.
Okay. So like Mad Libs.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Only because we're on a podcast and we like to keep things moving. Otherwise, you can actually play this at home if anybody wants to. It was a game in print. It's no longer in print, but you can go to Bring Your Own Book. I think it's .com or .org, and you can actually print the game out yourself and play it with your friends. It's really fun, I promise.
Fun.
So your first prompt is, I knew then that blank would change everything.
Okay. So first paragraph, and then I pick some words to fill in the blank.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Give me the thing one more time.
Okay. Your prompt is, I knew then that blank would change everything.
Okay. I knew then that British literature would change everything. Which is the context is that Riley just failed a quiz because he fell asleep through in class.
It's true on every account.
Yeah.
I love it. Your next one is, the last thing I expected was blank.
The last thing I expected was a rotisserie roasted wild pig.
I can say I would not be expecting that, yes. Very true. If I had just walked away from blank, none of this would have happened.
If I had just walked away from John Wallace, none of this would happen, which that's a character in the book that you will find out. That's actually kind of ominous. Out loud.
Note to self, keep an eye out for John Wallace. Right. They warned me about blank, but I didn't listen.
They warned me about the figure running towards him, but I didn't listen.
Okay. In the end, it was always about blank.
In the end, it was always about Fire Wizard. Which is true.
I should have realized the truth when blank.
I should have realized the truth when literal fire inside my bones trying to get out. That also feels ominous.
Yeah, that feels real ominous. Everything fell apart the moment blank.
Let's see. Everything fell apart the moment transportation magic with no limitations.
Yeah, that seems real unsafe.
Yes.
All right. Final three, and then we enter pure chaos round. I never meant to fall for blank.
I never meant to fall for... Oh, wait, hold on. I never meant to fall for respectable college student. Which I think is like describes none of the characters in my...
The one thing I couldn't control was blank.
The one thing I couldn't control was kids unattended.
Yes. Perfect. And the last one is, and somehow, despite everything, blank still mattered.
And somehow, despite everything, tunnel system still mattered. Which is also very ominous. I keep finding ominous things.
So this final section is just, if you've ever been at a sleepover and you've had sleepy ha-has, or if you've ever been high and just spouted out weird questions, that's what this last section is.
Okay.
So, if your book were a pastry, what would its flavor profile be?
Oh, oh gosh. If it was a pastry, it would be a raspberry tart. I don't know. It's like the tart and sweet blending, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the worst possible place Riley could accidentally portal into besides the girls' bathroom?
Ah, the Brotherhood's lair.
Ooh.
Dun dun dun.
If Emma had to survive a reality TV show, which one is she winning?
Oh, she's winning anything related to like a music competition. American Idol. She's winning American Idol. Yeah, that's easy.
Which character is absolutely banned from having a group chat, and why?
I think I have to pick Logan because we've already established he's the
Yeah.
chaos. He's just unhinged, and it only gets worse in the second book. Sorry,
He'd
not sorry.
be. I imagine him to be the weirdo with questions at 3 o'clock in the morning, just blowing up my phone. And he'll be like, "Oh my god, shut up!" And the whole thing gets
Yeah, exactly.
If your magic system had a side effect that was completely ridiculous but unavoidable, what would it be?
Um. Oh gosh, completely ridiculous. I feel like. I mean, well, this is probably too realistic, but I would say like every time they go through a portal, that they throw up uncontrollably
Oh,
afterwards. Yeah, it's like teleportation sickness, basically.
yeah, I've definitely been on some forms of travel that makes perfect sense for.
Yeah.
I when I was a child, there was a book, and it was published in the 80s called Half Magic, and a group of orphaned kids find half of a magic coin, and it only grants half of their wish. And like they discover that when they're like, "Oh, I wish we were where Mom was," and they only get halfway there. And then they're like, "Oh, I guess we could wish for like a bowl of popcorn," and it's just half a bowl of popcorn. And so it's just like funny little things like
Yeah.
that. I love the ridiculous.
I've heard of that. I probably read it, I would think, but yeah, I've heard of it for sure.
What would Riley send to the group chat at 2 a.m.?
Hey guys, I accidentally burned down our dining room table.
Ignore the smoky smell. It's fine. I've got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, he got mad. Logan beat him at a game of Cards Against Humanity. So there you go. The dining table's torched.
Whoops. You have to swap your main characters into a completely different genre. What genre are you choosing, and how badly does it go?
Oh, okay. I feel like I would pick like thriller, like psychological thriller, and partly because like they do kind of have to become like do detective work to figure out what's going on and who's behind the evil that's lurking, but they're also just total screw ups, so I think it'll just go poorly. Yeah.
What is the most chaotic hear me out you could pitch about one of your characters?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick Logan again. It's like, hear me out. You're gonna be annoyed with how unhinged he gets and how hot-headed he is, but at the end of the day, he's your ride or die. Like he's a Warcraft wizard. You're not gonna survive without him.
That's fair. Very fair. And the last one, if your villain had to take a customer service job for a week, how long could they last?
Not long at all. The patience would run out immediately, and yeah, I mean, especially when you have like dark magic at your disposal, it's not going to go well. No.
I can think of the many customer service jobs that I've had in the past, and if I were to be like, "Snap, you're on fire," yeah, I don't think that would be beneficial.
Yeah.
So finally, we ask this of all of our guests. Is there anyone that you would like to thank, from agents to editors, writing partners to friends who had to listen about your book a million times?
Yeah, there's lots of people. We could just spend like a whole entire podcast with that.
Yeah.
I mean, my book is dedicated to my husband, so like he's a very clear choice of, he supported me from day one, and he's heard me yap about the book and, dealt with me being in the writing cave and doing all these events and all the things. So yeah, like huge shout out to my husband. I mean, all my family and friends have been incredibly supportive. That list is super duper duper long. And I think like I would specifically say, my publisher Indigo River, the series got acquired, and they relaunched the first book and they're putting out the second book. And so like they have really come alongside me and pushed me, and made the second book like even better than I thought it could be. So like their editorial team, like huge shout out to them for sure. It's been an amazing process, and I'm super proud for how I've grown as a writer and how great the next book is. And I can't wait to get it out there.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Thanks for staying up with us. Follow us on Instagram and Threads at Booked All Night Pod. Drop a comment to let us know what you thought of today's show, and join our Discord server for giveaways, excerpts, and more. It's still in the works, but we're aiming for 100 members. Catch our live author interviews on YouTube and leave a question for our guests on our Discord server. Check out our shop and website at bookedallnight.co. And if you're loving the chaos, don't forget to rate us 5 stars. Until next time, booklets, remember, stay booked all night.